Hi everyone. I'm on my way to get some repairs done at Shady Hole, and I also have some ideas for Mr. Creosote. I want to upgrade our engines for one thing, and for another, I have some new weapons I'd like to test out with her. One of the biggest annoyances I had with recycling other people's ships is that once they're disabled, they tend to drift around a bit. So I had this idea of putting a maglock on the front of the ship, which is sort of like a landing gear, except without all the sticky out arm things and such, in the hopes that I can grab my victims and make them sit still long enough for me to grind them to bits. So that's a concept I'll have time to test once I've gotten this ship put back together. As for weapons I wanted to test out, one of them is this handy-dandy laser turret. It doesn't require ammunition, and it doesn't require a conveyor port connected to it. It's a very low power weapon, but it's said to be balanced out by its extreme range. Although I'm not sure whether that applies to its AI or simply its firing range when controlled by a player, which is one of the things I want to test. And I can see that this one is mounted backwards. So as you can see, I've already learned something about this weapon. Here in the creative world, I have been putting in a lot of work on my ship. I've got a lot of it put together, although it's not quite close to being finished yet. One of the things I've been waiting to do is testing those weapons on Creosote before I start putting them on this ship. I also need to come up with a name for this ship. I may also have to raise up the bridge. It's actually surprisingly not that much larger than Infinity. Although I may have to make it a little bigger. At any rate, it's certainly not quite ready for prime time yet. I can tell you one of the things I've done with it is put a lot, and I mean a lot, of hydrogen engines on the bottom. I know a lot of designers prefer to go with atmospheric engines, but if I decide to land on a planet without an atmosphere, that's going to be a problem. So I decided to stick with hydrogen and put on 4 azimuth hydrogen tanks, which have the same capacity as vanilla, but look much cooler. Just the same, with the current weight of this ship, this is a lot more engines than it would need. But I also want to be ready for when the weight increases due to cargo. I decided to go with azimuth cargo containers because they look cool. And I've left them exposed for the same reason, and also because the ship is going to have shields, which should keep the cargo containers safe. The shields will be fully upgraded, unlike the shields on Creosote. And there's a couple of other features which I'd like to save for when I finish building this ship and finally unveil it. But as you can see, it's also got quite a lot of jump drives, which will be useful for when it's time to go to a planet. So this ship is certainly making an evolution from a mining carrier up to a general exploration vessel. And I think I've got it pretty well sealed, but time will tell as for whether it's actually going to hold air. According to this vent, I don't have any leaks. I'd be seeing a yellow light if there were. However, it hasn't actually filled up with air, and that may just be a creative thing. When this ship goes from creative to survival, I may learn some things that I wish I'd known earlier. So over here I have nearly finished Mr. Creosote's makeover, and she's looking pretty good. But before we take her on a shakedown cruise, what I'd really like to work on is getting the new ship from creative into our survival world. Which means we're going to do some work on Shady Hole Station. Oh hey! I just noticed these space pirates coming from down below, where I haven't posted any weapons yet. This could be a sticky problem. Be sure to tune in next week to find out. In the meanwhile, be sure to click my like button, check out my other videos, build something cool, have some fun, and have a nice day.